Hello, it's Bori. Today, I want to recount a few things that happened to me about 8 years ago that actually pointed to the fact that my health wasn't going the right way. But before I do it, let me just re-benchmark my position today. For those of you who are just probably tuning into my videos for the first time, I am 64 years of age today, and about 18 months ago, I was 84 kilograms, and I had a full-blown metabolic syndrome. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a convergence of multiple conditions. I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. That was about 18 months ago, nearly just getting close to 2 years ago. And fast forward today, I am 72 kilograms, and at the time I was 23% body fat. Today, I'm about 13% body fat, and all the metabolic diseases have gone. I have got normal blood pressure, normal cholesterol, no diabetes, all gone. So that's where I am today. Well, before I got here, I had to go through an 18-month system, which is the EVERPRIME system. And for those of you who want to know more about that, you can go down at the bottom of this video at the end of it, and you can see all about that. But for now, I want to refocus on exactly the telltale signs that I could have picked up if I had listened to myself, if I had listened to my body way back. In fact, I'm going back now 8 years ago. It's well before I got diagnosed or before even I noticed something was wrong. 8 years ago, 1 year, it was during spring and summer. During the springtime, something happened. So I'm going to recount about 4 stories. So the first story, or the first episode, was in spring in England, in the same house where I am now. We were on a Sunday morning. My wife was trying to prepare what we call what's usually called the Sunday lunch in the UK. Very popular. Every family does Sunday lunches, or most families do. So my wife had already put the roast in the oven, and that was wafting through the house. Very nice smell. And but for some reason, my younger daughter, who was probably 12 then, came down and said, "Look, I don't want Sunday roast this Sunday. I'd rather have pasta." Don't know why, but she just came down with that. She said, "Right, I want pasta. That's what I want to eat today." My wife said, "Fine, I will make pasta for you." So she took out the pasta, started to boil it, and then we of course sat around the kitchen table. And then she got up and went up to the kitchen drawer and picked up a jar of tomato paste, obviously to go with the pasta. The pasta was boiling away. And then she said, right, she tried to open it first, and then she couldn't open it. She tried 2 or 3 times. I could see her try. And then she kind of said, right, you go. And then she gave it to me. I tried to open it. I couldn't. I tried 2 or 3 times. I couldn't. And it was really getting not only humiliating, but it was going to be a practical problem because we do need the sauce for the pasta, and I will not break the bottle. So I opened the front door and tried to tap it just outside on the ground, on the asphalt in front of our house, to see if I can loosen the lid. I tapped it 2 or 3 times. Sometimes that works. But on that occasion, for some reason, I couldn't still do it, even after tapping it. And it was getting really awkward. So just at about that time, I'd come back in and I started to blame the design of the tomato and hoping that there would be basically another jar which we could try. But as soon as I got back in and closed the front door, our handyman, who normally comes in and helps us with the garden, wasn't going to do work today, but he needed to pick some of the tools he left behind. And he just knocked the front door, and he opened, and I opened, of course. And he said, "Oh, I've just come for some of my tools. I need to go and help someone else today." I said, "Fine." And then my wife suddenly took the jar and gave it to him. And then we were talking away about what his plans are for the day. And he absent-mindedly opened the jar, not even thinking about it. I didn't see any flex. I didn't see any hard trying. He opened the jar effortlessly while she's talking to me. And my wife took the jar, gave me a quick wry look, and of course went away to do the pasta. So that really bugged me, because why couldn't I open it? And then he kind of opened it effortlessly. Okay, so he's a handyman, but still, that was, quite frankly, a bit humiliating. We didn't say anything about it, of course, but it kind of registered. So that's the first story that year. The second story happened when that very summer we went on holiday to Spain, our favorite place. In that location, it's a big complex. Mostly it gets food holiday makers during the summer. And there is a very beautiful pool within the complex. And every late afternoon, everyone goes swimming and it gets full. It will be heaving with families, older men, younger men, children, women, and so on. And one afternoon, we were in the swimming pool. It was really full of people. And of course, like all pools, there's the far end, which is deeper. Most of the younger men and maybe people who are proficient in swimming will be swimming that end. And then the shallower end, which is where the steps are to get out of the pool or to get into the pool. It's mostly children who, of course, couldn't swim with all their plastic stuff around their arms to ensure that they're protected. And we were swimming, and maybe after half an hour, so I noticed one thing. I noticed that the shallower end was really getting crowded, the children and their mothers and so on, really lively. And on the deeper end, I'm a good swimmer, relatively good swimmer. At the deeper end, wasn't that crowded. And so the men, mostly men, and some women, who were in that far end, would swim after a while, after diving, they would just haul themselves out from the pool, from that end, instead of walking to the shallow end and walk up the stairs. And I would see everyone doing it, older men, middle-aged men, and even maybe teenagers would just haul themselves up the pool. So I thought I would try and do the same. I tried once, it didn't work. I didn't have the arm strength to pull myself out, and I wasn't big. I was probably between 80 and 84 kilograms, sure. And I couldn't haul myself out because I didn't have the arm strength. I tried once, I tried twice, I couldn't. I was hoping nobody noticed me trying and failing. So after the second try, I walked to the far end, the shallower end of the pool, feeling humiliated quietly, and navigated through the beehive of children and then climbed up the stairs of the pool and then the steps of the pool. And that registered. So why couldn't I call myself out when almost every other man could do it from that place? Okay, they didn't discuss it, but I kind of thought about it a little bit. It did nag me a little bit. Throughout that holiday, before we go out swimming, I would remind myself about it, but of course I would just not try again to hold myself out. I knew I couldn't do it. And then the same year, when we got back from holiday, my wife and I decided to go shopping to Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's is one of the big supermarket chains in the UK, if you're not from the UK. And the shopping center where the supermarket is about a mile away from us. Now, it was a beautiful day on that day, late summer. And I said to my wife, let's walk, let's not take the car. We normally take the car because of the number of bags. I said, let's not shop a lot. Let's just go in there and get 2 bags each. So 4 bags in total. And then we can walk back. She was like, are you sure you don't want to take the car? I said, no, we don't need the car. I mean, I need to walk anyway. She was like, okay. So we walked to the Sainsbury's supermarket. And we had a list, but as is always the case with everybody, we obviously shopped more than what it was on the list. So instead of 1 bag each coming back, we ended up with 2 bags each. And some of them had some heavy stuff in there. But they were all packed very nicely. They were balanced. They're kind of all as heavy as each other. So there wasn't some that were more heavy than others. And then after we checked out, we obviously were heading home. And naturally, I took 2 bags from with each hand. So I had 4 bags and she had 4 bags, all of approximately equal weight. And we started to walk back from Sainsbury's. It's about a mile to our house. And along the way, my arms were killing me. And I almost felt like saying, let's stop and take a break. But I didn't do it. Why? Because my wife was comfortable. She was walking with those bags as if it was nothing. And I wondered, why is she not feeling it? But of course, she was talking, laughing, we were talking, laughing. And we got home. When we got home, put the bags, my arms were killing me. She never once complained about it on her part that it was heavy or anything like that. And the bags were of approximately the same weight. Again, that kind of registered in my head. So that was another instance wherein I thought, well, there is something wrong here. Then, towards the autumn, that same year, we have got a neighbor. He's probably close to 70 now, but at the time he was about just over 60. And he lives alone, he lost his wife. And that year, during autumn, he wanted to start his car and he couldn't start it. And then he came, knocked at the door, said, all right, I need your help. help me push the car? I said, of course. And my wife and my daughter all joined in. Yeah, we'll help you, John. And he went behind in the steering wheel, behind the steering wheel, and asked us to push. The three of us, myself, my wife, who was she? Tried as you could. The car would not budge. And John, the car owner, came out of the car and said, right, boy, you go behind the steering wheel and I'll push with your wife and daughter. I said, oh no, the car doesn't budge. I kind of started to look at the tires. I started to look, say maybe something's wrong with the car. Again, typical man trying to blame something. And he goes like, no, you go there. And this guy was over 60. And I went behind the steering wheel, did all the things, got myself ready. And then in no time, the three of them kind of just pushed the car. And I'm talking here, not stuttering, really pushed the car so fast. I almost thought the car had started. And of course, ultimately we managed to help him start the car. That episode was over. But again, it wasn't over in my head because I thought about that. The only difference there was me, because before it was me, my wife and my daughter, the car couldn't move. We tried maybe for 5 minutes. And then this older guy who looked very flimsy, I looked stronger than him, and he tried to push it with my wife and daughter. So I was the only difference because my wife and daughter were the constant. They moved the car. So again, that's another telltale sign. So these are 4 stories that happened in 1 year. Now, I'm sure the year before there were other things which I may not have noticed. I'm sure afterwards there were other things, but that year is when I started to notice something is wrong. Now, the interesting thing is, I still did nothing serious until maybe about 5, 6, 7 years later, before I did something about it. So the moral of these stories is not only to self-deprecate myself, even though it's funny. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then, because that's when that year I kind of joined the dots. But again, I didn't do anything, and this is typical. We kind of know there is something wrong, particularly us men, but we don't take the action to do anything because we think we can mentally think ourselves out of the scenario. And it didn't happen until it really came to a head about 18 months ago when I started to take it all seriously. And today, it's all gone. I can open any jar almost that any other man can open. I can lift any bags. I go to the gym today. I can almost outlift some people who are 30 years younger than me. So just in case you feel worried for me, it's all fine. But the moral of these stories are, if that's you today, if you are noticing things that you used to be able to do or that the average person can do, and it does not have to be opening a jar, it does not have to be hurling yourself out of a swimming pool, although it could be. It does not have to be, carrying carrier bags from a supermarket. For you, it could be that you cannot hurl your hand luggage in the aeroplane into the compartment. It could be anything else. The clue is, if you notice that you cannot do something that you used to be able to do easily, or that other people of your age can do easily or seem to be able to do, then you need to start taking things seriously. Because regardless of how you look, because I did not look very thin, I did not look very flimsy, I did have a little bit of pot belly because I was overweight, but I did not look like somebody who could not do regular things. If that's you and you're over 50, you need to get yourself checked, because what that could imply is you are losing muscle mass, and muscle mass are a huge indicator of your metabolic health, of your overall health, and the trajectory of your health. So please watch out for all these signs. Now, these are just examples from my life and just in 1 year. So you could be facing other things. Just pay attention. If you notice anything that suggests that you're losing strength, you need to get yourself checked. And more importantly, you need You need to take your health seriously. Otherwise, it could be too late. For me, it was almost too late before I had to take drastic action about 18 months ago. So, once again, thanks for listening to me make a little bit fun of myself, but these are serious points. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. So please listen to your body, watch out for the signs, join the dots, take action. If you need me to help you, go down the description. There's a link there, just click it, and I'll be more than happy to help you. And it's seriously all about wanting to help, because I would hate to fathom what would have happened to me if I did not take my health seriously 18 months ago, where I would have been today. So take your health seriously. Your prime never ends. Let's go.